Welcome, everybody, to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller. We are back here for the fall term, Adrienne. And, of course, Adrienne Thoman's back with us, for one of our favorite, most prolific guests ever.
Always such a warm welcome. I appreciate that.
Well, I want to start off the show, Adrienne. This is the first episode since number 100. So this is episode 101. So I want to kind of take the first part of today's show to kind of take a look back at the celebration that we had here
beautiful.
at the Boyer House. So I kind of tiptoed around this last time you were on, Adrienne, but you were the recipient of our Shining Star Award. What that was so we did, and we will on future episodes talk a little bit more about this, but we did have a massive surprise in that we started a Nightly News Hall of Fame, and we inducted Norm Geary and Dr. Linda Fedrizzi-Williams into the Nightly News Hall of Fame for their contributions to the Nightly News. But Adrienne, we also wanted to recognize you as well. And you know, your day for the Hall of Fame will be coming. So
oh my goodness.
You've already got your ticket punched. But we wanted to recognize those two individuals. And we also determined, so this was a club thing. This was not my idea, and I take no credit whatsoever. So we wanted to do something special. We wanted to have some type of awards ceremony, but we wanted to think of something unique. And honestly, we sat around and just did a brainstorm session, a sort of a free write, and just, you know, hey, spit out some ideas. We'll write them on the board, and we'll think of the one that comes next. And Kim Musser, who is a part of the club, been a part of the club for a while, she said, well, what about a Hall of Fame? And, you know, I think we've been around long enough, because we've been around for about 4 years now, that sounded like a good idea. But I also, when we went after we had our last meeting, we kind of thought, okay, well, how often are we going to do this? So we've decided that every 50 episodes, we're going to induct someone in. And if we think about it, it ends up being every year and a half-ish. So every year and a half, once we get to that, we'll probably do a little. I don't know if they'll all be the scope of our 100th episode.
Well, I have to
party,
say,
but
the 100th was beautiful. I mean, you ordered a gorgeous day of weather.
Well, after the
Boyer
postponement,
House.
that once we got past the having to postpone the first day, which actually ended up working out, because I'd already announced the rain date, so people already knew and kind of blocked off both days. But actually, because of the rain date, a few people that wouldn't have been able to come otherwise were actually able to come. So.
It was really nice. And shout out to, was Kim the one that made the cookies?
Leslie.
Leslie. They were amazing.
We are planning on doing a cookie fundraiser.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah, so more information will be coming about that. But Adrienne, I want to get back to the Shining Star Award. So you were the only other person recognized other than the two Hall of Famers. And we did that specifically for a reason. I mean, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that if it wasn't for you, we would not be where we are. The support that we get from you on literally all facets, whether it's from letting us borrow your crock pots when we have soup sales.
Anytime.
Or, you know, just being so supportive, obviously the most prolific guest ever on the podcast. I mean, that's really what it was. We wanted to recognize you because I think I went back and counted, and you've been on, I want to say 20 or 25 episodes of this podcast, including this one. So we really wanted to recognize you, and certainly I could not even think about putting into words what all you do for the club, and our successes are directly linked to the support that we get from you in a variety of different ways.
Well, first of all, I have a blast coming here and doing this. This is so much fun.
Well, you've parlayed it into your own podcast.
Absolutely.
Now.
So I really, really appreciate the opportunity to do this. And that the award, it really meant so much to me. I'm so proud of it when I see it hanging up on my wall. And I think that the biggest way that I feel like what I'm doing is worthwhile, though, is when those students walked around and shared what they have been able to take away from the Nightly News Media Club, from their participation in the podcast, what they've learned, what they've achieved. That to me is like, you know, certainly you are the mastermind and you have led them through that. But just knowing I had a little tiny piece of helping to support that really, really makes me proud of that.
That was my favorite part about the day and I told them we had a very basic loose structure, okay, we had some awards, but I did say that I wanted everyone that was there. And I think we had about 10 club members there that day. Some people had class and couldn't make it or were there for part of the time. But all the people who were there were the people that have been with the club for a long time, have been big supporters of the show, and really just been all stars. Mm-hmm. And so it really meant a lot. When I hear what being a part of the Nightly News means to the students is really part of the reason that I continue to do my job. We have very stressful jobs for a variety of reasons, but at the end of the day, when you hear Christian and Tyler and Brian and Norm talking about the camaraderie they made, the lifetime friends they made, the skills they've learned, the ability to engage with the college. So like Leslie and Kim both talked about that. At first they were online students and have day jobs and until we started running night classes, weren't really ever to engage with the campus. This gives them an opportunity to get to know people, to meet people, to network in a way that they never really thought was going to be possible until the club, became part of their life. So it's definitely, as we look back, it was such a wonderful day. Everything went perfectly. Mm-hmm. Everybody had a nice time. It was beautiful. I had a lot of help from my club members in terms of setting up and cleaning up, and yeah, like you said, Leslie's food was just
oh my goodness.
I had like so many to-go boxes because she brought like to-go boxes to send stuff home with people. I was eating that stuff for like another couple days. So I
tried so hard not to get that second cookie. I could not resist.
Oh, those cookies were unreal.
They were so good.
So yeah, we're gonna move on from that, but I will tell everybody. that that day we did have Norm come up to the show and record a little something right after he received the Hall of Fame induction, and that's going to be coming up on a future podcast. So
that's awesome.
Look forward to that. We're actually going to have a look back at the podcast, a couple of people that were here that day. So I'm going to put a whole little package together about that day, and we'll review that in a little bit more detail. Well, Adrienne, we are back for another amazing term that we have here at Central Penn College, starting up with the fall term. We have a ton of new on-ground students, residential students. Oh, my goodness.
Fall is always so busy.
I can't even imagine this campus is going to be buzzing like no one's business.
I'm excited for that energy.
So there's a couple of things we want to chat about today. There's a lot of major things coming up this term. Of course, we're going to talk about Fall Harvest. We're going to talk about Bras Across Campus. But there's one major thing that I wanted to start off with, and that is your annual trek to Field of Screams. This is going to be coming up on Friday of week 1, Friday, October 11th, and leaving Summerdale at 6 and Lancaster at 7. So, Adrienne, I actually learned, so we just recorded your podcast, in which I'm so fortunate to be the producer of the show.
And we are so thankful for.
I found out a very interesting story. Was this last year that this happened?
It's every year it happens, Paul. Every year.
So tell us a little bit more about this.
So this is the most terrifying day of my year. But we do it every single year. We go to Field of Screams. We take the students, and they have there's a hayride, and there's a mill, and there's a house, and there's all these scary things, attractions that you walk through.
I believe there's a new attraction this year as well.
Oh, great. Oh, just when I think I'm getting things under control. Well, every year, I can't control myself. I really try to be brave. And poor Shauna, who is one of our co-creators of the Pirate Life podcast and a longtime friend, she came with me last year. And she was bruised and battered by the end. I couldn't help it. I could not control the fear of the guy with the chainsaw. There's something about him that puts fear in me a little more than everybody else. And he just came at me, and I went backwards, slammed her against a wall. She's bruised. It's terrible.
Well, I actually told and shared a story as well that I'm going to share. We went to, not Field of Screams, we went to another one, but we've obviously been to Field of Screams several times. And the place we were at had a little bridge, and there was a little wooded area. And my wife doesn't really listen, so I don't think she's...
It's okay to share this.
She's not going to get bothered by this. But she actually, this chainsaw man and her had a run-in. And
always the chainsaw man.
He came out of the woods, and I didn't even see this coming. And I mean, I was taken aback, but she like jumped and like tripped. And unfortunately, literally there was a creek there. Like I had to like help her out of the ditch kind of. And this is as we're walking in, Adrienne. Like this isn't even on the way out. This is like before we even get into the place this is going on. So I would definitely make sure, if anyone out there is listening, if you see the Chainsaw Man, go tell them that Adrienne is super scared.
Do not.
I've done that
last time my poor students, I think they felt bad for me. I had 2 come up to me and say, I was really worried about you.
Is this a face your fears type of situation? You're going to be ridiculously scared, but you want to continue doing that to yourself anyway?
I don't know. Like, I just want to bring the students joy, and that brings them joy for some reason. And
you can stay in the car.
No,
I'm just joking.
Seriously, the first year we went, I thought, I'm going to drop them off. I'm going to let them go through, and I'll just wait in the car. I packed a book. I was legit going to stay in the car. And then when I got there, they were like, come on. There was no option. Like, they did not even give me the choice to not do it.
So again, that's the annual trip to Field of Screams, October 11th. It's only $14, Adrienne. That's like half price. I mean,
good deal.
Yeah, it's absolutely a good deal. So great way to end week 1 for all the new students out there hitting up Field of Screams. All right. Well, Adrienne, that brings us... Oh, before we move on to everyone's favorite segment, Adrienne's Featured 3, do you want to give a shout-out to your podcast in case anyone would like to hear that extended story on the upcoming episodes?
I appreciate that. Thank you. So we are the Pirate Life Podcast. Big step for us. We are now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. I think that might be it for right now, but we are working on expanding our reach, and we're super excited to have achieved that milestone. We're also on Facebook at the Pirate Life Podcast.
Awesome. So you can go out there. I think it's the Halloween edition that's coming up here in a couple weeks that you talked about that. All right, well, Adrienne, it is time for everyone's favorite segment, Adrienne's Featured 3, and this term, I must tell you, we had a really tough time narrowing down the list of what's going to be, but we're going to plow full speed ahead. All right, Adrienne, what is number 1 on this month's edition of Adrienne's Featured 3?
Number 1, Jose Sarduy. We have a comedian, nationally recognized comedian, that is going to be coming in. Our activities advisory board actually found him when they went to the APCA conference earlier this year and had selected him and booked him to come to Central Penn. We're super excited. He's going to be funny. It's a free show. It's open to the public so people can bring their friends. And it actually is part of our homecoming week, so it leads into all of the homecoming festivities. So there'll be lots of fun things happening in hopefully every week, but week 2 as we're leading up to homecoming. He's coming on Tuesday, October the 15th, and he'll be in our Capitol Blue Cross Theater at 7 p.m. And he's a funny dude. He's going to be great. I'm excited to meet him.
I'm sure you can check out his stuff on YouTube to get a little primer.
Absolutely.
All right, what is number 2 on Adrienne's Featured 3 for the month of October?
Okay, I'm cheating a little for number 2 because it's actually 3 things in one. But it is fall, the whole homecoming weekend. We have a wide array of things to get involved in. First being our Fall Harvest Festival. This is an annual event that we do. All of our clubs are typically there and get involved. There's free food. There's caramel apples. There's popcorn. There's pumpkin decorating and inflatables and bounce houses and a mechanical bull and just all things fun and fall will be there. It's from 10 to 2. So much fun, annual tradition. It is free and it is open to the public as well, so the community can come.
Also want to interject the Alumni Feast and Brews is also at that time as well. So if there's any alumni out there, you can reach out to the fine people in the foundation office. That's usually to benefit them. So reach out to Sandy. I'm sure fans of the podcast remember her. So we have Fall Harvest from 10 to 2. The Feast and Brews tent, I believe, is from 1 to 5 or 1 to 4.
1 to 4, I think.
And
then we have 2 homecoming games played at Adams Rickey with our soccer teams. Women at 2:30, men's at 5:30. In between the games, we're announcing our homecoming king and queen, which is a huge announcement you don't want to miss. And then that night, 9 p.m. to midnight, we are going to have an amazing homecoming dance, which our Student Government Association has been working to make a little formal.
Oh.
I am told that I'm going to have to take it up a notch, dress up. So it's going to be...
I'm sure you got some nice stuff in the closet.
Oh, my goodness. You know what? Brie Condis and I, who's our Residence Life Coordinator, we've been plotting. And we think we're going to... You know those T-shirts that have like the tux on them? We kind of think we might go that route. Don't tell our SGA president because I think she'll be cranky with me. But we're trying to find ways to cheat out of wearing dresses, so... we'll see what happens.
So on the 19th, we have Fall Harvest, Alumni Feast and Brews, Reunion Tent, and women's and men's soccer games, followed by the homecoming dance from 9 to 12. I got to tell you, that's a full slate.
It is a full day.
And I mean, that is really cool. Like, I think this is the first time we've ever had something quite like this. Now, we have had sporting events and things in the past, but we've never had something quite like this. This is, I mean, how much planning did this all take? And I know that you're not necessarily doing all of this.
No, there's a whole committee that is involved in it, and everybody kind of takes on just different aspects of it, which makes it nice.
Fantastic.
It actually leads into Sunday. You'll get a chance to sleep in on Sunday, but then we're doing kegs and eggs for the students on Sunday at noon, kind of like a hot breakfast lunch with root beer kegs.
I love it. All right, so Adrienne, we have one more event that we're going to chat about as far as Adrienne's featured 3. What is it?
So the masterminds in our Colleges Against Cancer Club are working on the plans for our Bras Across Campus event. This is October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this event is so visually, like, it just captures your eye because they end up it benefits the Feel Your Boobies Foundation, and they end up taking a whole string of bras strung together all along Hensey's Bridge in the middle of campus. And it's just so striking to see all these bras there for the purpose of educating. The whole message of Feel Your Boobies is early detection, doing your monthly self-checks, all those things. And the students really come together to plan. They bring in speakers, they raise funds. It really is a beautiful event. Plus, I have a tradition of going to community aid, and we collect donations of bras, but then we also try to buy some too to make sure that we have enough. Every time I'm there, I feel like, oh my goodness, I have literally 40 bras in my cart, and they're thinking, what am I doing with all of this? That they must have questions about.
I got to tell you, though, it's community aid. I mean, people are coming and going out of there with stuff all day long. I wouldn't think that they would. They might at first, but it's gone after a couple minutes.
Well, and then dummy me, I'm like, yeah, I've got all these bras. I'm like, it's for work. And then I think, oh, wait. That might not be the response to say.
Now, that might elicit some conversation. But Bras Across Campus, that's going to be on October 30th. And there's a little kind of ceremony type of thing.
There is. From 12:30 to 1, there will be a ceremony. There'll be typically a guest speaker that will come and share their story. And then it's a community effort to actually string the bras across the bridge as part of the ceremony.
Awesome. So just as a quick recap, obviously we talked about Field of Screams. That's October 11th, leaving at 6 o'clock. And of course, you can email Adrienne Thoman at centralpenn.edu. Next, we have October 15th at 7 p.m., the Capitol Blue Cross Theater, comedian Jose Sardui. Of course, Fall Harvest and the whole homecoming weekend, as Adrienne cheats and puts like 8 events into one. Fall Harvest 10 to 2. We have the Alumni Feast and Brews Reunion Tent from 1 to 4. Women's Soccer 2:30. Men's Soccer at 5:30 with the Homecoming King and Queen announcement in between. And, of course, the Homecoming Dance. Flash forward to the next day. Root Beer, Kegs, and Eggs on Sunday the 20th from noon to 2. And, of course, our final event from Adrienne's Featured 3, that's Bras Across Campus. That's going to be October 30th. That's going to be Wednesday from 12:30 to 1 p.m. And, of course, we will be seeing the bras strung across campus for those few days, right? You leave them up for a couple days, right?
Yep, absolutely. And shout out to Kristin Fike, who has really taken, she's a club advisor and has really taken the leadership of that event and worked with our students to make that happen. So she's awesome. And
one final thing that I wanted to just bring up, sort of looking forward to next week's podcast, the CPC film series, the last one for 2019, is coming up on October the 24th. That's 1984. What an apt movie to show after I'm just reading recently that the Ring doorbells are going to be potential for government surveillance, yes. Yes, the Washington Post article. And we're going to talk about that on our upcoming show, so check that out. So Judith will be on next week to talk about that. Adrienne, another successful episode in the books.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, and we certainly look forward to having you back again, and you're going on some vacations. We're going to talk about that next time when you're on. And of course, everyone's going to check out the Pirate Life podcast, in which Adrienne is one of the 3 co-hosts. Adrienne, as always, it's such a pleasure to have you here, and thank you very much for spending your time with the Nightly News.
Thank you.
And all right, so for our shining star, Adrienne Thoman, this is Professor Paul Miller, and we'll see you again next time on the Nightly News podcast.
Hey guys, it's Community Relations Coordinator Curtis Volker, and you're tuned in to the Nightly News Podcast.
Welcome back to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller, and we are here today with two very important people here on our campus, people who you've heard plenty of times here on the Nightly News Podcast. We are here with Internship Coordinator Kristin Fike and Central Penn All-Star Parker Rose. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
It's great to be back, Professor Miller.
Well, I got to tell you, Parker, you are an unbelievably inspirational person to our campus, and what we're here today is talking about Parker's involvement with the Real Men on Campus that's taking place currently and will be, the campaign will run until the end of October, till October the 31st. Parker, we will chat about that with you for a minute, but Kristin, I wanted to talk about the Colleges Against Cancer Club. So, new term, this is the first day of classes that this podcast is going to be released. We have a ton of new students up here. I would imagine most of those students have some type of background or experience with cancer in their families, so certainly a good club. So let's start right off the top. Kristin, I know that maybe fans of the podcast might already know the answer to this question, but what was it about the Colleges Against Cancer Club that's made you want to be so involved and be one of the advisors for since you pretty much your whole time here?
Absolutely. So I wanted to become a part of the organization because, as you said, it affects all of our students in some way, shape, or manner, whether it's them themselves or a family member or a friend. So I became a part of the organization. I had a friend specifically who passed away from breast cancer, and her initiative was to bring awareness to young individuals. And she did that at a campus that we worked together at previously, especially to young women because she died from breast cancer, but also to young men as well. So when she died, I kind of took that over for her. And, I wanted to bring that initiative here to our campus, just bringing awareness to our young individuals on campus.
Now, Parker, what was it about? So obviously you have been instrumental in the Colleges Against Cancer Club. What was it about the club that made you decide that this would be one of the clubs that you wanted to be a part of?
Well, since how cancer has an impact in my family history and all, and in high school I was in a lot of Relay for Life and very involved in the American Cancer Society with my church and helping with Relay for Life's events and all. And when I went to Club Fair my first term here and Kristin said about College Against Cancer, I wanted to join because I have relatives that had cancer, survivors, and lost battle with cancer. So it's very important to me and a big part of my family history to be a part of the club to help put a fight to cancer.
So again, we are talking about the Real Men on Campus initiative that you're taking care of here, Parker. And one of the things that you're trying to do is really make sure that you are trying your best to raise money, because really awareness is fantastic. It's wonderful to understand why we are raising awareness, but frankly, what is needed is money. So, again, we will chat with you about that in just a few minutes. There are some major events here, though, that the College Against Cancer Club is doing in the month of October. One of those is the Bras Across Campus that's going to take place on October 30th. Kristin, could you share a little bit more information about the Bras Across Campus?
Sure. That's actually an initiative through the Feel Your Boobies Foundation. So that is geared more towards younger men and women. That is an awareness event where this is actually, I believe, our 4th or 5th year that we're doing it, where we literally take bras and we string them together and string them across our bridge. And we also have a short program that goes along with that. We typically have a survivor speaker, and that has been some of our students in the past who are survivors, or maybe they've had a family member who's a survivor. So we have a speaker talking, and then we have the fun initiative of hanging those bras on the bridge.
From my perspective, I think what's most unique about this is the visuals of it, because you're not going to be able to walk across that bridge or anywhere on campus without seeing them. Now, in terms of how you procure the bras, if you will, can you share a little bit about some ways that you kind of round up the bras that are going to be displayed?
Sure. So in the early part of October, we put out donation baskets around campus. So you'll be able to see those in some of those more visible areas, like over in ATEC and the main lobby over in Milano. So anyone can drop off their donations in those baskets, and that's what we use to string together.
You're also looking at going forward the Great American Smokeout. That's going to take place in November. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure, that's an initiative through the American Cancer Society, and we are able to get, information and brochures directly from the local American Cancer Society in Hershey. We brought that initiative to campus so we can just get out on campus that day and hand out information to students, really, kicking out cancer or smoking as much as possible. In years past, we have handed out little pieces of gum, with cancer statistics, from smoking on them. So just another way to get out on campus and bring awareness.
Now, if anybody is interested in being a part of the Colleges Against Cancer Club, Kristin, what would be the easiest way for them to touch base with you?
The easiest way is to stop out and see us at the club fair. That will be Wednesday of week 1 of the fall term. We will be there. You'll be able to talk to us in person. You can either email me or stop by and see me in my office in the Career Center, Bollinger Hall, room 51.
Well, we are going to go to Parker, and we're probably going to spend the rest of the time. Of course, we'll recap those particular events that you have coming up. But Parker, why we're here today is this is your second year being a part of the Real Men on Campus. This is part of the Real Men Wear Pink campaign. And reading from the notes, breast cancer affects everyone, women, men, all the way down the line. That's why we're recruiting men to fight breast cancer through the Real Men Wear Pink initiative. This distinguished group of community leaders, Parker, you're a community leader, is determined to raise awareness and money to support the American Cancer Society's mission and save more lives than ever before from breast cancer. Parker, how did you first get involved with this particular initiative?
So how I first got involved was last year. Kristin was thinking of candidates for the newly kicked off Real Men Across Campus campaign, and Kristin, because of me telling her about my history with my family having breast cancer and all, she thought of me as being the best candidate. So her and myself discussed about it, and I decided I'm going to give it a shot and see where it goes. And then from support from faculty, staff, students, and everyone in the community, it really kicked off really well. Like, I think last year we raised a $500 goal within 2 weeks last year.
Wow.
It's a very important campaign to me, and I'm planning on doing it for the whole time here. And eventually in the career field, I want to step up with the real men that actually raise the goal to $2,000 with their corporations or companies they're part of.
So you were one of 17 candidates this year, including those from Capitol Blue Cross, UPMC Pinnacle, Penn State Health, and even Tom Russell, who will be coming up for our Nightly News Speaker Series in December from CBS 21. But you are currently the only Real Men on Campus candidate in Harrisburg.
That is correct.
Now, what is that? I mean, when you think about it, it's tough when you're in the situation and things are unfolding for you to kind of maybe take something away. But if we rewind to last year and the feelings that you had when this was over and you gave that money, what did it mean to you?
It's emotional. I'm going to be honest. To be able to take a stand on something that is a big issue today with like breast cancer or any cancer in general, it's emotional because you went above and beyond, worked hard, and had support from other people that care about this so much as you do to raise money to help put a stop to cancer in general. And I thank everyone who supports and helps and donates the American Cancer Society every day, what they do for people that are going through chemo or need transportation, places to stay, or are fighting the battle and never giving up.
I love it. Kristin, I know that you have to get going, but I want to just ask you kind of the same question. What reward, and maybe reward's the wrong word, but what feelings do you have in terms of what you've been able to do with the Colleges Against Cancer Club when you think back?
I have actually seen some of those patients, one-on-one who, this fundraising money has really helped. And one of those ways specifically is at the Hope Lodge in Hershey, which is right across the road from the Hershey Med Center. So patients who are there getting treatment, maybe from out of the area and can't travel back and forth, they stay at the Hope Lodge. So they do not have to spend money at a hotel. And we typically go out to the Hope Lodge twice a year, typically in the winter and right before Christmas as well. And we get to see some of those patients and talk to them and their families about how all of these initiatives have helped them, whether it's been the Look Good, Feel Better program where they've gotten skincare or wigs as they're going through chemo, whether they've gotten rides, if they live out of the area, or that lodging that they need while they're at the Hershey Med Center.
Well, as as a fellow club advisor, I really want to thank you very much for taking time out to not only keep this club going, but really just being supportive of Parker in his Real Men Wear Pink campaign. So I know you have to get going, but I wanted to thank you so much for that. And to be honest, this is one of the most influential clubs on campus, if you ask me.
Thank you. And our students honestly make it easy. They're in and a part of our club for a specific reason, and they make my job easy. They bring the ideas and they put all the hard work into it. I just help them along the way.
Very modest, but still, thank you very much. Kristin, we will make sure we have you on again in the very near future.
Thank you.
All right, Parker. Now I want to talk with you a little bit about your fundraising. The campaign's goal is to raise $50,000. And right now, you are currently in the top 6 with the total amount of money that you've raised so far. Now, how have you went about raising funds for the Real Man on Campus initiative?
First, we just had normal donations from people back home and around the community. I had some donations from some people back in Schuylkill County, and even some faculty and staff members here on campus donated money. But the one fundraiser that really put me over the hump, like I got over the $500 in a span of a month into the kickoff. And that fundraiser was the Krispy Kreme fundraiser, which I was really glad that me and Kristin came up with that idea, because I didn't realize how popular Krispy Kreme donuts was on this campus, where we sold a total of 88 boxes, which gave us a grand total of a $365 profit.
Parker, I got to tell you, we've done a lot of fundraising over the years. I don't ever recall a fundraiser that made $365. Usually for us, it's maybe $100 or $150, but that's incredible.
Well, can I be honest with you, Professor Miller? The first day I was selling for the donuts, I filled a whole 2 order forms in the one day. I had to print out more.
And I got to tell you, I saw when you got everything and you were kind of hanging out and waiting for people to come get. Parker, I've never seen so many donuts in my entire life. I think
the whole ATEC built, probably the whole ATEC room that I was in smelled like a bakery.
Right. Now, another fundraiser that you're going to have coming up next week on Tuesday, October the 15th, will be that the faculty and staff will have a dress down day for $2, and they will be available at the front desk or with Kristin. So this has got to be something that's very popular as well.
It was, yep. We actually did that last year, and we did make, I think it was close to a couple $100 just based off that. And I was talking to some faculty about it, and they were saying, yeah, we would love to pay $2 to be able to wear jeans and a pink shirt and a sticker. And I want to take the initiative in October to wear all the pins I got for being the Real Man across campus, because if I could demonstrate that on campus, it'll get people like, he truly cares about this campaign, and hopefully raise funds for the campaign.
Now, walk us back to last year. Is there like some type of banquet or something at the end of this that you went to or attended?
They do have a post like celebration and all that I mixed up the dates, so I didn't get to go.
Well, you're also busy, Parker. Yeah. I mean, come on. You're in the National Guard. You're a major person in several clubs here on campus. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to fault you, but you're planning on going this year?
Yep. Depending on the date and if I'm available, I would definitely love to go, because it's a good way to celebrate with all the men that were in the campaign with you. Just be there and say, hey, you did a great job, good job raising money. Like, it's not about like, yes, they compete to get who could raise the most money. But in the end, it's not about that. It's about how we all came together and we raised to get the goal of last year we raised over $50,000.
That's amazing. And I think that this is so cool. And hopefully, Parker, if you get to go, you'll get to meet some people who feel as strongly about this particular cause as you do. And I think that that's just as valuable as the people that you're helping. You're also getting to network with people, and who knows, maybe in the future you might be able to do something even bigger to support cancer research.
And that's one. And like, Professor Mister, I wish you were at the kickoff breakfast, like how everybody was there. Like, it was early in the morning, but there was so much motivation and cheers and emotions running wild and at the Hilton in Harrisburg. And I was just amazed of how much support we got on that date.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, and I've shared this before with you too, but I lost both my grandfather and father to cancer. And it's something that we've certainly always tried to really make sure that we were being involved with, whether it was monetary or volunteering or things like that. And trust me, like the amount of opportunity that we have to give back to our local communities, everybody, it is just so powerful. And the ability to work with those, especially, I mean, really, honestly, Parker, who has not been impacted by cancer of a friend or a family member at some point?
That is true. There is definitely a lot of people around the world that had relatives, friends, close relatives, very close friends, or someone they know that suffered from cancer or lost a fight or was a survivor. Something like this, all of us together, we come together and I think everybody's at the point that's like, let's end cancer. Let's find that research. Let's beat it. Let's get rid of this horrible disease that is impacting a lot of people every day.
Well, another announcements, Parker, before we get out of here. You will be at Fall Harvest, but that will be after the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk that's going to be on City Island on Saturday, October the 19th, before Fall Harvest. Mm-hmm. Should anybody be interested in joining you during that walk, how would you suggest they get involved?
I honestly say just be there in attendance. It's from, like, I couldn't go last year because of me being busy with the drama club for our children's play. From what Kristin tells me, it's a great event. They do a 5K, I believe. They do a walk across it, and usually it's a beautiful October day, and it's a good day. Like, you see all the campaign members, it's like a relay for life. And you're there in support.
I got to tell you, I've done several of these types of things before, and it's moving because you're going to be able to get to meet some of these people who all of the hard work that you're putting in is going to benefit. And really, to me, that is the big difference there, because you can actually see these people, talk to these people, and let them know how supportive you are of them. To me, that's what's most special.
I agree.
Well, Parker, first of all, you are planning on hitting $1,000 this year. Currently, so last year you had a total of $885. You want to beat that this year, and you want to beat the $1,000. How's it looking so far?
Well, we're already halfway there, and it's not even October yet. We're at $524 in the campaign, but like I said, there's still a couple fundraisers coming up. I asked some businesses back home, local businesses that because I know some businesses are required to donate to a nonprofit charity because of their business. And I asked, hey, I have this campaign for the American Cancer Society. Would you be willing to help me raise my money? And so some business got back to me. Some of them have to ask some people around to get going. But hopefully it works out in the end, because I would love to be over $1,000. I want to be able to keep up with the gentlemen who are supposed to raise $2,000.
Well, Parker, I got to tell you, I really hope that you're able to write some of this stuff for the Nightly News. We would love to hear more details about not only just the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk, but also, when the campaign is over, maybe you write a little wrap-up story.
Well, I was actually going to write a story on the Krispy Kreme fundraiser, how it went and all. And
you're welcome to do that.
That's why and that's what I was going to actually do over break, was to write a story about that.
Perfect. I'll be looking forward to it. Well, okay, so here's a variety of ways that you're going to be able to help Parker. First of all, if you see him, I'm sure he'd be very happy to take cash off of your hands to put directly toward his particular fundraising goal of $1,000, but you certainly can consider being a part of the Dress Down Day that's going to take place on Tuesday, October 15th. Stickers will be $2 and will be available at the front desk or with Kristin, the Colleges Against Cancer advisor. Parker will be at Fall Harvest on October the 19th, and he will have some things for sale. You can also donate then. Certainly he'll probably be a little tuckered out after the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk before Fall Harvest, but definitely if you're planning on stopping by Fall Harvest, stop by Parker's table and chat with him about this. And then on October the 30th, Parker will announce his total fundraising amount at the Bras Across Campus event on October 30th. Parker does have a link. We will provide that with this podcast. But let's help Parker. Parker does so much for other people. Let's help him in his Real Men on Campus initiative here. Let's help him get to that $1,000. And I will tell you that we are going to figure out a way from the Nightly News to do something, to do some kind of fundraiser that we are able to donate some money to you, because Parker, this really means a lot to not only us as a club, but we want to be there to support you, and we know how much this means to you.
And hearing that is very appreciative for me, I appreciate that you and the rest of the club members, as a club member, appreciate the support from y'all, and I'm looking forward to raise this $1,000 goal.
Well, my friend, I have to tell you that this is unbelievably inspirational. To be honest, it's people like you that make me want to continue doing my job each and every day when I get to see people who really not only just care about themselves, but give back to the community and really have... It's not just about, for you, it's not just about being that student. You know, you're in the military, you're so heavily involved on campus, and then you do things like this. Parker, I mean, gosh, I wish I had a business, because you'd be the first person I would hire, my friend.
And that's my goal. My goal in life is, as long as I'm making some people happy in the end, I'm happy.
That's awesome.
That's the goal.
So check in with Parker. He's got till the end of the month to continue fundraising. Dress Down Day on October 15th. Fall Harvest, you can go by and donate. And if you can't or don't see Parker prior to that, you certainly can go to the website that accompanies this podcast. Well, Parker, from all of Central Penn College, I want to thank you so much, not only for being here today, but for being a part of this Real Men on Campus initiative for the second year in a row. And we certainly will have you back again next year to talk a little bit more about your hopefully $2,000 goal that you have next year if you beat that $1,000.
I'm looking forward to it, Professor Miller. Thank you for taking the time to let me come down on the podcast and talk about my campaign.
Of course, anytime, my friend. All right, well, that's going to do it for another episode of the Nightly News Podcast. So for Kristin Fike and for Parker Rose, this is Professor Paul Miller, and we will see you again next time.